It's about that time. It's time for an update. Hey everybody, it's Allie. I'm on a fantastical weight loss journey. I'm on Mounjaro, 5 milligrams, and this will be starting week 23, I think, 23 or 24. The weeks all run together at this point. Anyway, I lost 2.3 pounds this last week, and I wanted to talk about mixing up your injection sites because there can be some positives that come out of it and there can be some negatives. So let's talk about it. This past week, I noticed that the week before, I apologize, that's confusing, I did my shot in my left thigh. Now, for those of you who are new, I'm a thigh girly. I usually just rotate between thighs. I have tried all of the injection sites, and thighs have the lowest and least complicated side effects for me. Statistically speaking, that is true for most people. Not everyone. Everybody's an individual, but for me specifically, thighs are best. Well, when I did my thigh injection, not last week, but the week before, I did have a little bit of a red rash. And I hate to call it a rash because it really wasn't. It was more just red skin irritation. And I think it's because sometimes when you do a Mounjaro injection with the injector pen, it will leave like a little bubble of medication right at the surface of the skin, right? Because for the injection pen, the needle comes down and comes back up and all that. So there was just a little bubble of medication, and I just kind of haphazardly wiped it away, but I wasn't intentional with wiping it away. And I noticed that there were many people in the support groups mentioning that the medication itself, if left on the skin, can cause skin irritation. Now, I have never had this happen before. It does not look like any kind of allergic reaction, right, that you see people post, because that does happen sometimes. It was just like a pinkish red irritation. And it really did look like exactly where I had like swiped it. So note to self, be more deliberate if there is like a little drop of medication and getting it off of the skin completely. I do want to also throw out, you want to be careful not to massage the area where you gave yourself the injection. The pharmaceutical company does recommend against that for various reasons. If you'd like to go to their website and look that up, you absolutely can. Anyway, I tell you all this to explain why I decided to switch and do a stomach injection. Now, I normally don't do that because for me, it causes more nausea, and who loves nausea? Definitely not me, probably not you. So, but I decided to switch it up just to kind of give my thighs a break for a little while. I will never do back of the arm again. That was horrible. Nausea, headaches, sulfur burps, like it was like it was bad. Never again. But I can do thighs and I can do stomach. Anyway, so switching it up, I did go from losing roughly a pound a week to now this week switching it to my stomach, and it was 2.3 pounds. So switching up your injection site not only gives your skin a break, but it can change how the medication is absorbed. So if you find yourself and your numbers are dwindling down and you're tracking your calories, you're in a calorie deficit, you're doing your exercise, right? You're staying on top of everything. You're not doing anything differently, but you're finding that you're just not getting the numbers that you want. Please bear in mind, 1/2 pound to 2 pounds per week is healthy weight loss. And I certainly never strive to do more than that, but I do try to be as consistent as possible, understanding that not every week will you lose weight. So switching it up to stomach got me 2.3 pounds lost. So now, looking at my thigh, the left thigh, I still have just like a kind of pinkish where that skin irritation was. So I think I may do stomach again this week. Again, just to give my thighs a break because I've been doing thigh injections for weeks and weeks and weeks now. So I'll just give them a little bit of a break. And while there was some increased nausea, especially the first 2 days after the injection, it wasn't terrible. It was certainly doable. I had to stay on top of, making sure I was eating. I also found that the appetite suppression was full force all week. Whereas with thigh, usually a day or two before shot day, my hunger starts to come back in a very normal and healthy type of way. I'm not talking about when, like on 2.5, when I was starting to get used to the medication and when the appetite suppression would wear off like 3 days in, and then I would be starving, like ravenously hungry. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about just normal hunger, which I'm perfectly fine with. And if you are experiencing normal hunger, I encourage you to go with it and work through that. Or if you want more suppression, consider, switching up your site. It may not necessarily mean that you need to go up in dose. I think that people are very quick to go up in dose, and that can be problematic, especially with all of the shortages. So just keep that in mind. Also keep in mind that titrating up really quickly doesn't buy you anything. It actually kind of pulls the rug out from underneath you, because if you're somebody who's like myself, who has a lot of weight to lose, if you get to 15 and then your body gets used to 15 and you max out, there's nowhere else to go. At this point, we do not have a medication equivalent that is as strong as Tirzepatide 15. So there are some in the works, right? They're looking at coming out with higher doses, but those may be, years down the road. So just keep that in mind. It's not a race. You want to stay on a dose as long as you can while it's still working for you. So if you have a day or two of normal hunger, I encourage you to work through that, because it will also help you to remember what that feels like. If you just have appetite suppression nonstop for months and months and months, then you're going to end up like these people who their insurance boots them for whatever reason, and they have to get off the medication because they can't afford to pay for it out of pocket. And then they're not used to dealing with that hunger, right? Because they haven't in months, because every time they feel hunger, they just go up in dose. So work through it. It will help you in the long run so that you can be. And then I got a phone call. It'll help you work through it long term so that you can be successful in your journey to becoming more healthy. So that's it for me today. This morning, I pulled out my shot so that it can sit out all day. And then after work this evening, I'll take my shot and start all over again. I guess I'm going to do stomach again. Give my thighs a a break, and we'll see how it goes. And that's all the excitement that I have for this week's update. I will say that I had a lot more energy this week with the stomach injection. I did not have as much fatigue, but then again, that was offset by having more nausea. So you just have to play around with it and see what works for you. I see people post all the time in the support groups and they're like, where should I do the injection? Each person is an individual and you just have to find what works for you. But do yourself a favor, make sure you're tracking all of that information. I use a spreadsheet and track everything, and it is hugely helpful when looking back many, many weeks to say, oh yeah, I could see that, you know, here I had these changes, or here I had these changes, or right. It can be very helpful when you're looking at your entire journey to see what was working well and what was working better and what maybe didn't work at all, like the shot in the back of the arm. That was horrible. Okay, if you found this video helpful or entertaining in the slightest, please give me a thumbs up. It definitely helps me out. If you haven't already, make sure you check out my other videos. I have lots of tips and tricks. I also do these little update videos just to give you an idea of where I am in my journey. And consider subscribing. I'd love to have you. Make sure you comment down below and tell me how you're doing, because I do read the comments. And let me know if there's a specific video that you would like to see or a question that you have, and I will make a video to answer your question. Okay, we'll see you in the next video. Be kind and rewind.